Mm-mm, mm-mm. Paid the cost to be the boss. Mm-mm. I paid the cost to be the boss. Look at me. You know what to see. I'm a bad mother. Never mind. Never mind my new intro song that I just made for myself on the moment. Uh, this is alpaca leather, or fur, whatever you want to call it, but it's a celebratory outfit for the Dallas Cowboys and the damage that we're now doing in the NFL. Miss Reese, I see you. I see you. Pay the cost to be the boss, y'all. I had to pull this jacket out, not because it's cold in Texas, but because I just feel like such an R&B star. The Cowboys make me feel good about my life these days. Yeah, man. I don't know what to say except we're gonna do it and we're gonna do it again. You know, shout out to Carl Thomas for the jacket inspiration, man. It is hot in here, so I will take this off. But please remember that it paid the cost to be the boss in here. You understand what I'm saying? Smell like a winner, feel like a winner. Winner chicken dinner. Top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you, whomever you may be. You, and you, whoever you may be, wherever you may be watching, looking, or listening. It's your boy Aunt Mo, Anthony Moore, for those of you who may not know for sure. And welcome to the Mind of a Man Network. More specifically, upon tonight, I want to welcome you. So you're going to get these sports, bro. Listen, man, we're the most biased, unbiased show that you're going to take a gander at, because what we like, you're going to know. And what we don't, we're going to still let you know for sure. And I don't think it's no surprise. If you've seen the thumbnail, if you could read, we talking about them Cowboys, like specifically what they've done over the last 14 days. Took an NFL by surprise. I'm sorry. I've tried very hard to hide my homerism, but it is what it is, man. It is. You got to wake up early in the morning to get old Aunt Mo to believe in the Cowboys, to believe in Rain Dakota Prescott. And I'll be darned if they haven't totally redeemed themselves and have me believing again. If you are here, welcome, man. Every Monday we come to give you some shape, form, or fashion of some sports, man. You be sure to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, because we got plenty of things to give you at the Mind of a Man Network. But most importantly for tonight, we got Cowboy Talk. Man, tell a friend to tune in so we can talk about this, because I do believe that the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs, and I believe that we will win on Thursday. We know how this goes, people. Let's keep it a buck. Make sure you hop in the chat. Do you agree or do you disagree? Are you a fan of the Cowboys? Are you just a hater because we wouldn't let you join the fan club? Whatever it may be, we want you to tap in with us because we want to talk about it. But here's the reality. We from having a 7-8% chance to a 19% chance, and every week that we win, those chances get to increase. But it doesn't come without the daunting task of going through a team who ran roughshod over us last year in the Detroit Lions. Are they the reeling Detroit Lions? Were they supposed to lose their last two games at home, including what just happened with Green Bay? That is not for us to argue. All I know is we got to go to Ford Field on Thursday, riding high. Which team is more desperate? Shout out to Voch Lombardi, man, and Brian Broaddus for giving me some of that inspiration, man. People who are doing dope things in the space, talking sports, football, and most importantly, your Dallas Cowboys. But who's more desperate these days? Who needs this win? Now, of course, if we're looking at what we see here, we would like to think that your Lions are more desperate. But the reality is this: your Dallas Cowboys have something to prove here. They have something to prove here to all the haters and all the naysayers and all the people who are hopping the chat here being negative, saying that we just riding a baloney pony as we always do. This is not your same Dallas Cowboys here, folks. Sorry to break it to you. This is not your same Rain Dakota Prescott. And so much of what the identity of this team is now, that had the worst defense in all of the NFL, is now playing like a top 10 defense in all of the NFL, top 5 in most major statistical categories outside of points per game, where they're actually 11th now. But that's a far cry from a team who's gave up 40 points multiple times this season. So my question to you is, do you believe yet? Is this a fluke? Is it a farce? Are your Dallas Cowboys just taking us on a ride that they always do, where Jerry makes a trade a la Amari Cooper, where we were 3-5, we lose that next game after we get them, and then we win 7 in a row? Is it that same kind of party here? But I just want to know. Somebody let me know, because if you hopped in here, you're in here for a reason. You are a Dallas Cowboys fan, or you are a hater. And I want to know what you think, because nobody expected us to lose to the Raiders, but it would be like your Cowboys, the Cowboys of the old, that is, to go out there and lay an egg. And it had all the makings of what it should look like for the prototypical Cowboys to lay an egg. And by that, I mean George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb get in trouble. They don't get to start the game on the field on offense because they're out till the wee hours of the morning. Now, is this just young players? Because at this point, they are actually seasoned at what they do. Or is this the prototypical Dallas Cowboy players who don't have respect for the coach, who ride high off the franchise of being Dallas Cowboys, where, you know, we're like the greatest show on turf or something, in the aspect of, you know, Jerry has see-through windows in the workout room so we can watch them work out from you know, as we take a tour. Stuff that you don't experience across the NFL. It has made it very hard for people to believe that the Cowboys, and more importantly, Jerry Jones as the GM, owner, all of those things, is really locked into being a winner. But what happened in that game against the Raiders? We came out there. Of course, that offense looked a lot more decrepit when you have Tolbert out there and Flournoy and Turpin and all of that. We get that. But the reality is, they took care of business. Everybody ate. Everybody eats, B. Shout out to Ace. Everybody eats. So we did what we were supposed to do. We stomped them out. But wait, this is where it gets hectic. 3 games, 12 days. You have your Philadelphia Eagles, your Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, coming into town on a Sunday. Should have been the primetime game. We should have played that game at 7:15, but that's neither here nor there. But we have the Philadelphia Eagles come into town. Now, you can say what you want to say about Jalen Hurts. You can say what you want to say about that offense. But the reality is, they've been to the Super Bowl 2 of the last, 3 or 4 years. They're a proven franchise. They may not win the way that most people, their fans more specifically, will want them to win, but they know how to win. And we stomped them out too. Now, mind you, in prototypical Dallas Cowboy fashion, every game gave you a hint of what it means to be disappointed by your Dallas Cowboys, because they will find a way with early picks, turnovers, 3 and outs, you know, offensive plays that we're like, why are you running this? Why didn't we just run the ball? You know, things like that. Why are we doing end arounds with Turpin? Why are we handing him the ball out of the backfield? Same thing happened with CeeDee Lamb earlier in the season. He's out for 4 games with a high ankle sprain, because we can't just put people in position to do what they do best. So this is another game where the Cowboys down 21-0 early. Everything's working with the Philadelphia offense. He's looking like he's doing what he does best. And Jalen Hurts, he's finding his first read. Boom, he's hitting them. Scrambles for a touchdown himself. He's in his bag. He's in his Philadelphia cheesesteak bag. And we find a way to clock into that game. This is not the same Cowboy team that we are used to watching. They don't score another point. I don't want them to get another yard. Yeah. We talking movie quotes over here. If you can name that movie, put it in the chat. You feel me? But listen, man, your Cowboys are doing what we would have hoped they would have done for years upon years upon years. And that is, with expectations on you, with the game on the line, You show up and produce. Quentin Williams, DeMarvion Overshown, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Logan Wilson. Hey, all of the players that we have got back healthy from injury, all the players that we traded for, not to mention Trevon Diggs is supposed to be coming back. I got to be honest, this is not looking like a team that is just hoping to fight to get into the playoffs. This is looking like a team that has a little more destiny on it than what we would like to admit, because if we're being honest with ourselves, the Cowboys have let us down for 30 years. I'm 38. I remember the last championship game. I remember the last Super Bowl. I remember. We had Cowboy Day at Wood McDonald in Fort Worth. Shout out to them. They raised the real one. You feel me? I remember this. Everybody wore Cowboy stuff afterwards. The parade was crazy. And you could have told us then that we wouldn't have done some of the dopest things in franchise history, but we didn't. Before we continue another further, let me look at these. Let me look at some of these some of these chats. We have Miss Reese in the building. She said, hey, we ready for tonight's sports talk. Let's go. We here with you. We hear you with the tunes. Hey, if you just joining in, hey, I came in, pay house to be the boss, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to James Brown. And then we got somebody that's on the cell phone said, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Appreciate you. I'm trying to catch your name. Landon Haight. How you doing? Man, shout out to you, man. That's where you coming from tonight. But yeah, man, we talking Cowboys, man. The Cowboys are poised to run the table. So we were talking about the Eagles game. We found a way to find a way, right? If there was any part of you that was hoping that we would show signs of life, the Eagles game was the one. Now, never mind the people who say, oh, it's just the Eagles. Their offense is decrepit. Jalen Hurts only knows how to do X, Y, and Z. Cool. We ain't mad at that. We ain't mad at that at all. What do you have to say about a guy, for as long as he's been in the playoffs, he's only ever hit his floor, the worst he's done in the playoffs is the AFC Championship. We can't talk about the receivers that he had or hasn't had because he's won Super Bowls where we didn't know who his top receiver was and it didn't matter. A guy with a high ankle sprain in the Super Bowl that he suffered in the first 2 weeks of the playoffs came back and still won a Super Bowl that year. We're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks of this here generation. Probably one of the greatest ever. And shout out to y'all once again. Make sure y'all hit the like button. We want to get the fans and the stands and the haters in here all together. It don't cost you nothing to hit that like button and to subscribe. We close to hitting our mark of getting our 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. We're really ready for the big time. This face belongs on the tissue. Please hit that like, please, and please subscribe. Please get some people in here so we can hate or show love all together at the same time. We got some hate right here from Kenneth. He says the Cowgirls are 15th in the power whatevs. You mean power rankings? Because you would be wrong, my friend. Yeah. I don't know what you're trying to say here, but this is the hate that we welcome. And I don't, and listen, they're 9th in the playoff standings, with your Detroit Lions being in the 8th position. How many spots are there for the playoffs? Somebody tell me, pray tell. How many people from each side make it to the playoffs each year? How many spots do we have? You took too long. 7. Your Detroit Lions are 7-5. Your Dallas Cowboys are 6-5. So what happens if we win and they lose? What happens if we go in and take care of business? They now have more losses and we have the same amount of wins. What does that mean? Do we leapfrog them? Is that how that works? The hate's cool. We're the team you love to hate. It's the Yankees, it's the Lakers, it's the Cowboys, right? But you can't do anything with the buzzsaw that has now became the Cowboys. Hate as much as you like. Hate as much as you like. There's nothing you can do about it. Rain Dakota is playing out of his mind. Oh, CeeDee Lamb, he just so happened to find himself against McDuffie, one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. He hasn't gave up like over 50 yards all season. Sedarius lit him up and a touchdown. Had over 100 for the day, just in case you were wondering. Yeah, so if we're going to talk stats and we're going to talk facts, please make sure you come. So with that being said, let's look at what is actually on the schedule and what makes me believe. Hold on, I'm sorry, because the dude kind of got me off sides here. Let me go back because we got to still finish what we consider the trifecta of what was expected for us to win 2 out of those 3 games, right? So the Kansas City Chiefs on a short week, they played on Sunday, we played on Sunday. He has a greater advantage outside of we are playing at home, so they did have to travel to Dallas. So you cut into a day of preparation, so to speak. These guys are professionals. They are the best in the world at what they do. So we're not going to make excuses on anything like that, and I'm glad I haven't heard any of that. Because everybody, and I mean everybody, except for the homers that stay around Texas, were expecting for your Dallas Cowboys to come out with a loss. All right, so we got that out the way. So let's look at the stats. Let's look at the numbers that Patrick Mahomes puts up. Patrick Mahomes goes 4. It's not bad. On 261 yards passing, adding 7.7 yards an attempt, 4 touchdowns. 1, 2, 3, 4 downs. 2 of those, he had to move heaven and earth to make it possible. This was a game that wasn't as close as it seemed. The Cowboys were well in control of this game, and it started off with Dak Prescott throwing an early pick off of the pressure. He throws the ball in the air. It gets returned for a little bit. We know, we've seen what happened, right? But anyway, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 3 sacks on 18 yards. He had a QBR rating of 84.9 and an overall quarterback rating of 129.7. Not bad. Bravo. Now, this is who people are considering to be the GOAT. They're saying it doesn't matter if he's not won 7 Super Bowls like Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. He's more talented. Look at the arm angles he throws from. He's running quarterback. He's all of these great things, right? He's a mastermind on the field. And I got to be honest, a lot of what we missed out on, a lot of Quentin Williams was supposed to have multiple sacks in this game. But we got to be honest about who Patrick Mahomes is. He is a savant on that football field. He is amazing. He finds a way to find a way. Rolling to his right, going to the ground, he finds a way to hit an open receiver down the field. I believe it was Xavier Worthy. But he's impressive in every sense of the word. But he lost to a better quarterback on Thursday. And I'm entertained by this. I am utterly entertained by this because if you know me, if you've watched anything that I've put out that concerns the Dallas Cowboys, that concerns Rain Dakota Prescott, I will be the first to admit and tell you that I was not the biggest fan of his. He has found a way to come up small, Jiminy Cricket small, in the biggest moments where we needed him the most. Multiple times against your Green Bay Packers. This is Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers. You find another way, you lose twice to them. You lose once to his protege, Jordan Love. Then you lose twice to the San Francisco 49ers. So at that point, we are only left to surmise that you're not the guy. Before the $60 million contract, I told people, hey, let's just cut our losses here. Let's get rid of Dak Prescott. Let the contract expire. Let's go find somebody in the draft. Maybe that would have been a Shedeur Sanders. Maybe that would have been whoever. But I was ready to move on from the Dak Prescott experience. Because the same games that he thrived in, the same ones he thrived in was the same ones that Micah Parsons thrived in. games that didn't matter against opponents that shouldn't have probably even been out there. All right. Let's see what this comment says. What up, brother? This is from Jeremy Wilhelm, 3998. What's up, brother? I ain't trying to start nothing, brother, or not like that. But Panthers will be in the Super Bowl this year. They're going to be and what are you drinking? Yeah, what are you drinking? I mean, listen, I don't have hate from your take because they put a pounding on us. Yeah, Panthers put a pounding on us. Now, mind you, I don't know what it is. This is the thing that, and I'm gonna still get back to what you're talking about the Panthers here, but I do want to say this: the thing that concerns me about the Cowboys moving forward, and it's this game in particular, because how they play on the road against quality opponents that we've yet to see them execute. We've seen them go beat the Raiders. Cool. We've seen them, we played the Giants at the Meadowlands or whatever their track is, right? The Jets. Cool. Not quality opponents. The real test is going to be, how does Quentin Williams, Overshown, Logan Wilson, how do those guys travel against a quality opponent? You may not be playing against Amon-Ra St. Brown because he had an injury, but I'm terrified of Jahmyr Gibbs. Absolutely terrified. I do not know what to expect from that guy. All right, he had to finish his thought. We're going to go to this, but, we ain't going to be sticking around for long. If y'all want to get these chats in, I do want to get through the show and be respectful of time. Y'all can do super chats. And to beat the Rams and the effing referees screwed the Panthers when they supposed to beat the 49ers, and god dang referees screwed us over. Okay. Well, listen, I'll say this. The issue with and this is, if you're here for the Cowboys, stay. We just got to deal with this for a second. Here's the issue, though. How long does it take you to find Teteroa? Like, you just now realize that he's a really good receiver. Like, he's your top draft pick, and you've struggled to get him the ball. He didn't score until he played against the Cowboys 4 or 5 games into the season or something like that. He's a stud of a receiver. I know, because I had him on my fantasy, and he's just now being utilized. There's a lot more to be desired about the Panthers, as well as I am a Bryce fan, but we don't know if he's the real deal or not. It's still yet to be determined. Rico Dowdle, we know about that story. We know about it. We didn't expect for him to play the way he's playing over there. And I'm not so sure he's went off like that since he did it 2 weeks in a row. And then, of course, he told us to buckle up, and we went out there without our seatbelts on, and he gave it to us to the tune of 200 yards in that game. But a completely different team. Nothing has really. You have a blessed day, brother. Are you leaving? Yeah, man, we just talking, my brother. I respect what you're saying. Hey, stick around, dog. Stick around. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, though. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that like button before you go, if you do go. But I want you to stay. So, there's still a lot to be desired about that Carolina Panthers team, is all I'm saying. Now, y'all did beat us, so I can't refute that. And you may be right, because Tampa Bay, with the injury to their quarterback, who knows what that division is going to look like. The Saints are not. We know the Saints aren't who they have been in many years now, if we're being honest. Now, a couple years ago, they whooped up on us and then proceeded to have one of the worst records in the NFL. That was embarrassing. But my point, though, y'all, is that the Dallas Cowboys are looking so different than what they've ever looked before. You said, and let me see, let me change this up. I need this to be bigger. Okay. You said Rico Dallas, probably the best dang player on the Panthers right now. I think you meant Dowdle. Rico Dowdle is probably the best dang player on the Panthers right now. That's not hurt, or probably one of the healthiest players I have. I hope they keep him next year. Thank you for letting him go. Yeah, I mean, hey, no problem. Hey, we just got one of the top 5 rushers in the NFL this year as well. No big deal. Hey, all's fair, dog. That's the expectation. That's the expectation. But back to Dallas Cowboys, man, because as it one of our teams are in the playoffs, and y'all actually below us. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. Playoffs start today. Y'all definitely ain't in. But I do hear what you're saying. There's still a few games left. We'll see. A lot of the things about this schedule, if there's no cupcake schedules for a lot of guys, there's going to be a lot of beating up of each other in the division. So, it'll be cool. I ain't gonna lie. I want my get back on a few teams. Denver being one of them. I want to see Denver again, and of course, for us to see them, it would have to be, of course, the Super Bowl. But for Carolina, I think if it turned out that we had made a certain position as far as in the wild card, or if we actually end up winning the division, we would play the NFC South winner. And so if that was y'all, let me have this dance. I want my get back. You feel me? Because you got to think we're a couple of drops away from beating the Eagles twice, and it's not even hard to do. Because Jalen Hurts ain't that guy. We all know that. If you're a Eagles fan, if you feel in some way, you bring your little dirty bird butt off in here, let's have a conversation. But we know your quarterback's not like that. And then Shady McCoy has the nerve to try to say that his receivers are on the same level of George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, and it's laughable because they're not. Sorry, they're just not. The ceiling isn't there. One of those guys is a great route runner. The other guy is a phenomenal athlete and all of that. But when we talk about the bag that they can actually get in, nah, it's just not comparable. But anyway, Patrick Mahomes, you did a valiant job, man. You did great. You did good, kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of you. Some people would say if you take those numbers and that score and you put it against any other team in the NFL on any given day, that's a W for you. You played well enough to win. You just ran into the buzzsaw of the Dallas Cowboys and Rain Dakota Prescott, who his numbers were 27 of 39, 320 yards. He averaged 0.5 more yards than the greatest quarterback we've ever seen in our lifetime, 8.2 yards. And I apologize. I don't know what it is about StreamYard here lately. It's been tripping on me. So if it is buffering, I do apologize about that. And hopefully it chills out here real soon. But anyway, Dak had 2 touchdowns, one not costly interception because it did turn into 7 for them. But he had 1 pick. He didn't get in this game. I don't think you heard me. And I'll get to the chat in a second, but Dak Prescott didn't get sacked in the entire game. Don't look now, but Tyler Booker is putting his paws on grown men. Chris Jones putting his paws on you, sir. What's the kid? Because it's of them. It's Jalen Carter. Jalen was doing right. He went back to it's just it's just people get taking the fun out of the game. It looked like he took a lot of fun out of the game, Jalen, because little to no impact on that game. Tyler Booker, as a rookie, is making grown men look like children. BB is helping in that the team is coming together at the right time. We've dealt with the injuries. We've dealt with the worst parts of what we could look like. Quentin Williams has came in, manned the middle with Osa Digizua, Kenny Clark. I mean, he's revitalized what those guys could look like when everybody is actually playing in the right positions. So, what does the rest of this season look like? I promise I'm going to get to the chat, but I do want to just give you this before I look at the chat, and then we'll double back. But the rest of the season, of course, we go to Ford Field to play against the Detroit Lions, who we owe you one. Because y'all ran up the score on us last year. Y'all really tried to embarrass us something good. I ain't going to lie to you. I ain't going to hold you. But come do it again. Yeah. Then we got the Vikings. We got the Chargers at home, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have the Commanders and we have the Giants. Now let's look at here's the thing. I know we would like to think the Commanders are a walkthrough and Giants are a walk. That's the reality. The Commanders just took the Denver Broncos and they didn't even have their quarterback. We know that that's a quality team with quality opponents. That I mean, they are formidable opponents when they actually have their best, when they have their quarterback. Now, never mind the fact that we stomped them out when he was still healthy, but we don't have to go into that. It is what it is. But then you have the Giants, who Jackson Dart was a full participant. He poses a different level of problems. When you talk about, he just has a certain feel that he gives that team. He's a great runner. He can throw the ball pretty decent. Now, he has definitely lost weapons and like Scatterboo and things of that nature, but it is a division opponent who already gave us trouble with Russell Wilson. Now, that was a Cowboys team that points a game already. This team only gives up 18.5 or 7. So let's just see what this looks like here. All right. So let me go back to these comments. Let me see what we got. All right. He said the Jump beat the Eagles this year because we got to play them too. They said it would be a bonus playoff game. That's what they said in Charlotte. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what. We gotta slow down on some of these messages, y'all, because I can't make out some of it. I said the Panthers are trying to sign Mike Evans to a 4-year deal for $35 million. Closest contract about contracts about up with Tampa Bay. That was news today. Here's my thing though, before I go another further on that. If I'm Mike Williams, why would I leave there? If they don't want me, that's different. I know they got as a Buka or whatever, right? But I mean, what is Godwin gonna step in and be the guy with him? Mike Evans, yes, he's had his issues and stuff like that, but as far as with that hamstring, and then of course, this year was the collarbone, but I'm not buying that. I say he retires as a Buccaneer. That's just me though. He says, "Look out, girls are okay, but they're not the best either. The Panthers are actually better than the Cowgirls." Now, what are you basing that off of though? Are we talking about because of one game earlier in the season, or are we talking about what we actually see presently now? I'm not mad at y'all, beating the Rams, and I'm not, division opponent, right? That's y'all division, or is that the wrong division? No, it's wrong division. But anyway, that's wrong division. But my point is, and 49ers were the other team I was thinking about for that division. But anyway, the point is, I'm not so sure y'all would feel so great about playing us right now. If I'm being honest, we can get real pressure up the middle and on the quarterback. Rico Dowdle doesn't run for 200 yards if you have Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and Osa Digizua with Clowney and Ezabuka on the outsides. It doesn't happen. Not when you got Overshown, who is a sniper now out there. He's protecting the screen game. He's arriving with every tackle with bad intentions. This ain't the same Cowboys defense. I hate to break that to you, my brother. So, I mean, you say what you will. You're a fan of your team. You had a right to be. But it is what it is. So anyway, back to this schedule. Back to this schedule before I was rudely interrupted. So the Vikings are in a world of hurt. Okay, we know we know what we're going to get from the Lions for the most part. But here recently is if you can get pressure on that quarterback, he's a statue quarterback. He's tall. He's not very athletic. This offense for the Lions doesn't even seem to be what it could be as it was with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson seems to be what made that thing tick for them. And don't look now, but the Chicago Bears are 9-3, and based off of the Rams losing yesterday, they're now the new number 1 seed. Now, do I think the Bulls go? Yes. And I think whoever is at the top will change multiple times over the next couple of weeks, because the Bears, they're going to have some fighting going on in that NFC North as well. They still got to play the Packers twice and things of that nature. I'm not so sure that stays that way. It's like the stat when you look at last year. What was last year? Basically, the Kansas City Chiefs won like over 50% of the games with one possession or less, right? This year, not so great. It's the same thing that happened with the Minnesota Vikings a few years ago. Remember when they were like the number 1 seed or something like that? And they won over 50% of the games that they won by one possession. Now, of course, we know they got to the playoffs and they didn't do anything. The next year, they were bottom of the barrel. That stat changes from year to year. You got to start being able to get some separation, because that actually within games, like when we talk about scoring in the NFL, you got to being able to have a better point differential, because that's actually going to show how much better than the teams that you're playing you actually are. Even the Bears have a negative score differential, point differential. And that's even with them putting up major points against the Cowboys. They've gave up more points than they've actually scored. So is that actually indicative or a good indication of a quality football team? We're going to see. We're going to find out. So anyway, your Dallas Cowboys against the Lions this upcoming Thursday. They'll get something like a mini bye to reward them for the 4 tough games that they would have had to win that nobody expected them to then go against the Vikings, who for some reason don't know how to find Jeff, don't know how to get Justin Jefferson the ball. And he doesn't play that great against us, if I'm being completely honest. Gone are the days where the Megatrons and the Julio Jones are just going to absolutely torch us for 200, almost 300 yards. It's not going to happen, right? So I'm not expecting for it to happen when we end up going against the Vikings. That's the only real threat. Maybe they have a running game. You have the Chargers. Now, this is what I did get to look up. Somebody let me know in the comments if you found it out. But I saw that Justin Herbert was scheduled to have surgery. Can somebody in the chat tell me what that surgery was for? Is this a season-ending thing? Is this some type of, they clean up, he'll be good in a week or two, but that's looking quite favorable for your Dallas Cowboys. To not have Justin Herbert at 100%, you're going to take that. You're going to roll the dice on that. And then your Commanders, heard that Jalen was looking pretty good, but he wasn't cleared for contact just yet. So there's some type of chance that they could trot him back out on the field. But the question is, if that's your franchise quarterback, why would you want to put him in any position to re-injure himself from something like that? Do you want to give him a full offseason now to heal, to rehab, and to be ready to come back and be another real contender, right? Who says what they're going to do in the draft? Maybe they get better at lineman. Maybe they get better at receiver. Because how many years does Terry McLaurin have, even though you just signed him to that big extension? They need a lot of help in different places. I'm not sure that they wouldn't still need help at running back as well. It's a division opponent. It is what it is. But that's the second to last game. And then, of course, we end the season against the New York football Giants. Jackson Dart has shown that he can invigorate and put life into that team. That's the game that concerns me as far as like divisional opponent. Maybe it's a win and get in type of game. Over the last 20 something years, we haven't done too well with those type of games, especially like under Romo. A lot of those win and get in games were at the very end of the season. But overall, I, I say that the Cowboys are going to take care of business, and I would bet the house on it. I would bet the house that the Cowboys are going to take care of their business. As I said before, this isn't your prototypical run-of-the-mill Dallas Cowboy team. They found a way to maneuver through adversity around every single corner. Of course, we don't have to get into this because a lot of people like to get to this point and they like to hang their hats on it. I'm not as big on it, but losing a close teammate, a try-hard guy, and more Nealon, that's not something that you poo-poo. That's not something that you look over and it's not a big deal. It can be something that, and you don't want to reduce somebody losing their life. Fiance losing a fiance. He had a child on the way. I don't know if he even knew that or if it made a difference. You can't make them all of things like that being able to galvanize teams because you get a realization of what matters more. It's not necessarily putting up 6 points or getting a sack at the end of the day. We want people to see. We want players to be seen as more than just that. We want them to be seen as people who have feelings and thoughts and emotions. So we can't make light of that, right? That's a shock. You didn't wake up on a Wednesday and hear something like that. And I'm not saying that was an actual day, but I'm just saying, So this team has a lot riding on it, right? Nobody was expecting for them to go on this type of run in the first place. The playoffs were a joke. They said that the move that sure that people understood this for a year. This will build some momentum. But they were saying that this was actually going to be something that was going to be used to catapult them for 2026. You got 2 first-round draft picks. You get a linebacker. You get a running back. You get a corner. You get a safety. Any combination of those things, and now you're actually ready to make a run. I'm telling you, if you look at this team, the difference between 07 Giants, 09 Giants, because there are some differences. Listen, StreamYard, stop being silly. Jeez Louise. But anyway, what is the difference with this team? Then the 07, the 09, the Eli led. You go quarterback for quarterback, clearly better. Now they just had front four that was hellacious, and they corners that were opportunist. I can't tell you the amazing linebacker they had, an amazing safety they had. They had one hellified receiver in Plaxico Burress. David Reed had a helmet. He wasn't this amazing all-world receiver. So when you got a firepower, a high firepowered offense like the Dallas Cowboys have, and you got to throw Jake Ferguson in there, with that guy being seasoned, Kavon being this steady, hard-nosed running back, believe nobody wants to face this team. Nobody. Nobody expected for them to go into that stadium that day who had far more Kansas City in there than would have been comfortable selling tickets for. And so, being my people who are on, it says I have 5 people in here thus far. Haters. What are your thoughts on Dak Prescott? Is he playing like an MVP right now? The thing I love about what I'm seeing from him thus far is that he is absolutely quieting the haters. Who's the quarterback? Now, mind you, we can't compare Dak Prescott to Patrick Mahomes. Has been 1-3. It's 7, what is it? 7 AFC championships or something like that. 6 AFC championships. The only way he doesn't get to the championship is if he doesn't make it to the playoffs, which I would like to tell you that you can formally bury your Kansas City Chiefs. Done. So put a fork in them. And chances are that against the Houston Texans, who just got a big win against the Colts, that's a bona fide top 3 defense in the NFL. I'm sorry. It ain't looking good for them. But I like the fact that maybe we were the pressure cooker that made the thermometer pop out of them. Your internal temperature is done, my boy. I'm sorry. I got a bet with one of my buddies, man, $500 that Patrick Mahomes won't win 5 Super Bowls in his lifetime. It's too hard. Football is a game of attrition. Curtis Knight. Let's see. We got another hater in here. Lack Prescott. That's lame, but I give you credit for trying. Who's your quarterback? No, I get it. It was a bad joke, but I get it. Yeah, because he be lacking. Shh, I get it. It was a bad joke. Who's your quarterback, though? Who's your quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. It was a bad joke. I give you credit for it. Hold on. Let me do is my sounds working? Nah. Dang it. I want to see if my sounds was working because I got some stuff in here for Matthew Stafford. Okay, so you're a Los Angeles Ram. So how you feeling about your quarterback? Fumble loss yesterday, pick 6, another pick, lose to the Carolina Panthers. How we feeling? Is that just one of those games you got to get out of the way, or is there any concern? Because I ain't scared of them either. The Cowboys got a perfect storm brewing here. And let's not act like Matthew Stafford is the most dependable quarterback, because he's not. He'll give you some numbers. He ain't no lock, though. It ain't Ralph, though. You know what I'm saying? He ain't doing it like that. So how you feeling about the loss that y'all just got handed by a lowly Carolina Panthers team? And I only say lowly because, they beat us early, but they are actually behind us in the standings. But anyway, everything is starting to align with Dallas Cowboys. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to comment. Stream is tripping, dog. I gotta email them. You said bounce back. This, stuff like this be interesting because people don't be seeing when the fix is in. People don't be seeing when the fix is in. Here's the reality. Good teams beat bad teams. This is a simple thing, right? Good teams beat bad teams, right? Good teams beat good teams. But you shouldn't let bad teams beat good teams because it puts this doubt on how good you actually are. Here's why I say this, right? If I'm a Cowboys fan and I lost to the Bears, right? People said early in the season, people said there's no way that a team that lost to the Panthers and the Bears should be taken serious or that they're actually a playoff contending team. Oh, you mean the 9-3 number 1 seed Chicago Bears? They had lost 2 games in a row before they played us. I'll give you that. But Ben Johnson knows a thing or two about calling plays. I don't know how for real they may be. Like I said, I want my get back against them too. Give me the Panthers. Give me a run. I'm telling you right now. Give me a run where I make it to the playoffs and I have to play against the Panthers and then I have to play against the Chicago Bears. Give it to me. I'll take it right now. And I'll tell you right now, never lost. I'm betting the house on it. It was just a bad game. Can't win them all. I do agree. I'm not saying that ain't, but some games though, right? Some games like, like for instance, right? We took Philly to the brink the first game. The Giants took us to the brink. We had to move heaven and earth to get a win out of that game. Division opponents, though. Now, of course, now to my point, though, what I was saying was the team that beat us, the Carolina Panthers, just beat the Rams yesterday. So are they just a terrible team, or they're actually a really good team? What are considered to be our bad losses this season? I would say there's probably one. The one bad loss that the Cowboys actually have this season came at the hands of your Arizona Cardinals. Other than that, I could argue with you that the Cowboys, you got a tie. Of course, you never want a tie. The Bears. So the Eagles were the champs. So, I don't blame you for those 4 drops that you had. It is what it is. We took the L. I'll just say they were a better team. The Chicago Bears, they did it to us. And the Panthers game was 30-27, so it was actually a close game. The Broncos, that's the number 1 seed over there in the AFC. Not making no excuses, but they are, or number 1, number 2 seed. The Cardinals are it's just a bad loss, bro. But what I'll give us credit for is that we found a way to bounce back. We didn't just allow, we went and made a few trades. We got some players healthy. We challenged ourselves to be better. And now we are in the hunt. So I'm not mad at that. But you are right, though. The Rams are still a good team. The Rams are definitely still a good team. I don't know. So how do I see this? Let me get to how I see this playing out. Because you need a few things to happen. You either need the team that's the number 1 seed right now. You need to lose ball, because Chicago has a really schedule, and for whatever the reason, I'm having a lot of issues thus far with stuff loading and all of that right now. I wanted to show y'all what their schedule was actually looking like, even though they're not right now. But they got the Packers. They played the Browns, which we could just assume that the Browns will fight hard unless the defense has a tremendous game, and I am a Shedeur Sanders fan. I think it's stacked against him with that team. Shedeur Sanders having to throw the ball to G, who drops half of the balls that are thrown his way, trying to argue with Shedeur on the sidelines is embarrassing. So anyway, you got the Packers twice, 49ers, Lions. So the Chicago Bears are either going to prove to you that they are truly an elite team. The Packers, once the 49ers, 9-4, and you're ending the season against the Lions. You're going to lose at least 1 big games. You probably lose to either either the 49ers or the Lions. It's a good chance that you lose 2 or 3 of your next 2, 3, 4, 5 games. And if you do, the Cowboys just got to keep winning. So that's an option. So you got the Bears are not, they don't have an easy road ahead here. Now, your Eagles, who probably, in my opinion, have the easiest road, although they play the Commanders twice. We can never forsake, like I've said, divisional games. So they have the Chargers coming up, which isn't necessarily even a difficult game anymore, because I still don't know what happened to Justin Herbert. They play the Raiders. That's a win. You got the Commanders twice, and you played the Bills. It's going to be hard to get back and win the division, even if we win out. I would be hoping, though. Because I don't think we could. If they end up with 5 losses and we end up with 5 losses, of course they would win because they have no ties. So they would be 12-5. We would be 11-5-1. So you need the Eagles to lose 3 more games or 2 more games realistically if we're going to run the table. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. That'll be tough. So that's the type of scenario that I see happening. If you watch the Above the Rim Bombers championship, I see us running the table here. We owe the Lions. We're gonna get them what they need. We got Chargers. We're gonna get them what they need. You know what I'm saying? We gonna take care of business, man. I would say I hate to sound like a homer, but it is what it is. West Philly black. Hold on. So I gotta sneeze too. And it might be because I think I just encountered a Philly fan. If the Cowboys lose to the Lions on Thursday, their season will be over. Man, did you hear what George Pickens said about y'all? Y'all known for sandwiches. Y'all known for sandwiches, man. Like, what are we talking about here, dog? You need to worry about your quarterback. You need to worry about your quarterback who can't throw a rocket to the ocean. Missing wide open players down the field. He not like that. He's a glorified running back for real. So you better hope y'all don't collapse while you laughing talking about if we lose to the Lions. Don't worry about us, fam. Don't worry about us. We gonna take care of business like we did against y'all. Do you have hope that your team is actually going to rebound and go on another run? You ran Saquon Barkley into the ground last year, right? That's why he looks the way he looks now. You have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and you can't find a way to get these guys the ball consistently downfield, intermediate. If it's not a slant or a go ball, they're useless. So thank you, West Philly Black. I appreciate that, but your team is in trouble, buddy. And here's another thing. You want to see us again. You hope we don't make the playoffs because you don't want to see us again. Chances are CD doesn't drop that many balls for the third game. I actually hope and pray that doesn't happen. But y'all, so it's cool. Have your laugh. Y'all did what y'all did to be in the position that you're in, but we ain't going for that, dog. But you make sure you hit the like and make sure you subscribe to the channel, man, because I love to see you be able to chronicle this historic run that we about to go on to make the playoffs. And when we do, nobody wants to run into that building. Chances are, you know what I'm saying, that's out of reach. And then you talk about teams like, the Bears specifically, they would have the tiebreaker. And of course, Philly, like I said, unless they get a tie too, and then we end up with the same record, they still have a better record than us. But I want you to come back. See me in 2 weeks. How about that? You make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and you come see me in 2 weeks. Let's talk about it. Because I'll fall on the sword. Excuse me. I'll fall on the sword, kinfolk. If I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. So if was a fifth, we all be drunk, kinfolk. Anywho, man, listen. This has been, because I don't know if anybody has anything else to say, but this has been another installment of You're Gonna Get These. I had to stop by and talk about the Red Kingdom. Yeah, that's what I want to say. That's what we do before the season. Let me read this. Let me read these numbers to you. Don't get antsy. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't listen. Let's just appreciate what we're looking at here. This is week 1 through 9 before the bye and the trades happened for your Dallas Cowboys. The defense was ranked in points allowed 30.8 a game. That is good enough for 31st in the league. Total yards per game, 397.4. That was good enough for 31st in the league. Rushing yards per game, 143. That was good enough for 29th ranked run defense in the league. Takeaways per game, 0.8, tied for 23, tied for 23rd in the league. And then sacks per game, 2.2, which that was good enough for 17th. Now let's look at post trade, post bye week. Points per game, 18.5. Yards per game, 287.5. That's good enough. So 18.5 is good enough for 11th in the league. So fringe, borderline top 10 defense in points per game. That'll get you in position to win. They are essentially giving up 110 yards less. That is good for 7th. So this defense has gotten rushing yards per game, less than 50. 45 yards per game is what this team is giving up. That is good enough for 2nd in the NFL. Takeaways per game, 1.5. They're up to 1.5. They're up to 1.5 takeaways per game when they were at 0.8. That is good enough for 8th. They're tied for 8th in the NFL. And then sacks per game, they're up from 2.2 to 2.5, which is good enough for being tied for 7th in the NFL. So if you tabulate this, this is a bona fide top 10 defense now in the NFL. That's with losing one of our starting last week. That's with not having Trevon Diggs for a majority of the season. He's been practicing, hoping to start against concussion out of the way, hopefully knee swelling out of the way, hopefully mind right now. Look like if Trevon, and I'm not saying 11 takeaways Trevon Diggs, I'm saying the athletic, get a jump on the ball. What if he can get 2 or 3 interceptions the remainder of the way? With Siobhan Ravel over there, you got Kalen Carson, and you have Deron Bland. You're now talking about being able to go 4 wide in a dime situation where some team wants to throw out 4 receivers, and we ready to lace them up with Quentin Williams, Osa Digizua, Kenny Clark, Donovan Ezaraku, Jadeveon Clowney, all bringing heat to your doorstep, my boy. With Overshown and Logan Wilson roaming around. Oh, you better hope your Dallas Cowboys don't make it to the playoffs. You better hope that we do falter against them, because you think it's a media circus now. Yeah. Take that. I'm loving it. Working with in the NFL. And it's just that simple. Listen, man, we don't have any more haters. The stands and the fans scared to hop on here and declare they love for the Dallas Cowboys. But it's a hard job, but somebody got to do it. Listen to me. I am your host, Anthony Moore, Ant Mo, for those of you who may know for sure. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind of a Man Network. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in to You Gonna Get These Sports, bruh. If you are a hater, you keep hating. You can't do nothing with us. We beat your team. And we do this installment every Monday. I ain't gonna lie. I'm thinking about going live and just seeing what we talking about from these Lions. You're starting to make me believe again. And that could be the scariest part about this all. Listen, man, tell a friend to tune in on the next installment of from the Mind of a Man Network. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. As I end every show, life is hard enough, so please don't just live elevated. Until next time, I love you. May the Lord keep you. I'll see you on the next show. Until then, say la. Be easy. Why now? Go Cowboys. We gonna shock the world.